Hello, folks. Welcome to the Watch Her Work Show, a very special Sunday edition that I don't know about you, Kelsey, but my Apple Watch, like right here, is giving me like are you working out right now? Because I am just hyped and like ready to go.
I
We
didn't put mine
have
on for that very reason. I was like, I'm going to be distracted.
Eventually, I'm going to get the you need to calm down pretty soon. Take a moment to breathe. We are so thrilled to have on today's show, our third show, by the way, which how is this happening in our third show? I don't know. This is crazy.
You're very lucky.
We're happy to have on a member of the Minnesota Lynx, the 2020 Rookie of the Year, the person who tore it up in the WNBA bubble in 2020 and continues to have a great career. We have on Crystal Dangerfield on our show today, and we are so hyped to have her on. Welcome, Crystal.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we can see along the comments that we have coming in too. Folks are super hyped to have you here. People are really excited. For your side, Crystal, we are kind of on this Top Shot community. We all kind of come from this same kind of Discord, social media land, and we have a lot of people who are new to the WNBA but are really excited about it. Just folks who want to learn and kind of know what your experience is in that land. So I think our first question for you, Crystal, is how did you get onto NBA Top Shot?
Well, first it started with my marketing manager, Paul. He kind of told me about it. And then I started seeing a few of the NBA guys talking about it, like Josh Hart. And I was like, let me check and see what this is talking about. And I got on there and I saw what the moments were and how cool it would be, like to trade around and meet the fans of their game and then and the WNBA when it eventually got there and connect with our fans that way.
That's so cool. Yeah, I remember my first time on Top Shot was almost a year ago today, and I remember coming on some of these streams.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah, happy almost anniversary. And I remember coming on these streams that this account was doing a year ago, just being a newbie to the stream and just like, when are we going to get WNBA? Is that going to be something that happens over the summer? It felt like a pipe dream, but like it happened, and you're on the site. you have a moment. What is it like to kind of see to see yourself on the site, to sort of know that you are one of these folks that are sort of featured from your team? What's it like to have your face on this huge thing that people are kind of collecting frantically? Yeah.
For sure, but I think it's cool. For one, I have my own moment. I think that's cool in itself. But being able to see my own, see my friends in the league, and see how different platforms that are helping us grow our game and letting us grow our fan base in different ways that you wouldn't think of 5-10 years ago. So I think for me, it's feeling that way because I'm new. This is only going to be my third year going into it. So to have something fresh and carry on as I move forward in the league and be able to build something with that, with Top Shot.
Yeah. Have you noticed that other players in the W are talking about it at all, or do you feel like you're one of the few that have kind of tapped into this new thing?
I think I was one of the few. We had, when we finally were able to bring the WNBA and to have their own moments into it. And I'm sure like if there were some more people that to understand what NFTs are, really get into it, they would love it too. But NFTs in general, I think, are going to start gaining a lot more traction when people understand exactly how they work and everything like that. So it'll grow itself.
Yeah, I think so too. And it's cool that it does feel like it's happening at a time where there's more attention being paid to the W, and it feels like this really is the start of this push for the WNBA. And so for this to kind of be a piece of it right in the beginning is really neat to be kind of a part of. What was it like for you to watch your moment for the first time? I think we're on a little bit of a delay.
I wasn't sure what it was going to be. It was a pretty cool shot. But
yeah.
I definitely, it just a little bit. If I cut out, I'm totally sorry. But
no worries.
it was a nice shot. Like I said, I was nervous of what it could be. And I think, I couldn't ask for a better one. I'm going to hold on to mine. People will ask for it or, ask for the trade or gifted or whatever. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, no, you got to keep it. Was there any you were sort of expecting it to be? Were you like, it's probably from this?
Honestly, no. I didn't know if it would be from my second year or from a rookie moment. But I think after a while, I was like, okay, it can come from this season that I'm in right now. But I had no idea what it would be.
Yeah, I sort of expected one of the drives through the lane, like one of your classic layups over someone that's like a foot taller than you, and you're still able to just power through and get it in. But yeah, I remember when these came out, people saying this was one of the cooler ones. It's like the on the move shot from far away. Definitely a cool one to have and a cool first moment to have, I think.
And we have some people kind of in our Discord group who have kind of all these theories about like what's the next challenge going to be, how are we going to showcase moments, and I think there's just a people of team who are like hashtag buzzer beaters who are just like, we're holding on to all the buzzer beater moments because we know it's going to be in some kind of challenge. So you're in that group, you're on that team. Do you have, so knowing that this is going to knowing that this is probably going to happen again in 2022, do you have any wish list for your next moment? Because I think like Kelsey said, like when I think of a Crystal Dangerfield play, there's like a dribble hesitation that someone's falling over, there's a drive in the lane over someone way taller than you. Do you have any wish lists that people can see to showcase different sides of your game?
A deep three, maybe even a buzzer beater. I'll speak that into existence, a game winner, something like that.
There you go. Make it happen. Queen of the buzzer beaters for that. Yeah. That's so great.
So fun.
So we talked a little bit off air just about how nice it is that you being a UConn alum are meeting with us during a UConn game. But you also have one of your former UConn teammates on the team with you. You have Fee on your team. Is there any kind of talk amongst the team sort of about like who has a moment, who doesn't have a moment, comparing moments, or maybe even like, is there a moment on the site that's not yours, that's maybe like your favorite, that's sort of like, oh man, I saw that, now I have to have that?
So far, like with my team, it's just trying to figure out what exactly Top Shot is. Because obviously it was just with the NBA at first, and then now there were the talks that we were gonna have our own platform of it. And so my teammates were asking me exactly what it was, and so I was just explaining it to them. And I'm not sure. I should have asked if anybody ever got into it, but just understanding what it is for first and foremost. But moment, I think, let me go in here and check. I think I already have one of my favorites, so to say. I'm gonna go into my collection real quick. Sure. It's a Brittany Griner dunk, I believe.
Oh, that dunk. Mistaken. We can also, I have, we're able to see your stuff on Top Shot. I can pull it up here for you too if you want. Kind of take a look at what
Brittany Griner dunk. I got one of those, so I was pretty content, pretty happy.
Not only the dunk, but one of my favorite parts about that moment is after, just like the flex and just like the tongue wag to the audience. Like that's so fire right there.
This one's so cool. Oh. And just it's iconic because it's also a dunk. There's not very many of those on the site either, especially for WNBA moments. So to have that is a really cool one. That was one of the first ones I was sort of looking for when I realized the W moments are out. That's a great one. And the run it back moments, I feel like it was exciting when WNBA run it back came out because it was such a cool way to honor past players in the league too. And I think that was a huge thing to kind of roll out.
Yeah, I think it's really important that, we kind of bridge together, the past and the present, and, make sure that we remember who started what we have.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I
Now
know
with
Lisa
that,
Leslie's on the side, I think. I think she's one of our the certified ballers. So it's cool that there's multiple generations kind of getting into this new thing too. I think that's a really neat feature of the site and the way it's able to build community in that way. I'm excited to learn of people who became fans of the W because of Top Shot. I think there is going to be a deep threat. One of our viewers here mentioned, do you think there'll be more fan engagement with W players? I think so. I don't know if you're seeing if there's been a change even in the few years you've been in the league of if you've noticed anything different with fan engagement or anything that you sort of hope to see in fan engagement in the next few years.
I definitely think so, because I can remember, about a year ago when I was, really heavily like just getting started with it, I was able to gift a couple of my moments to fans, just wanted to reach out and, say I'm here on the platform and I want to be a part of it. And even that alone, even if it's not just our own, like a player having their own moment or something like that, being a part of a release of a pack, just getting on there and engaging with fans, because that's pretty cool for them. They were like, I made their day, and it's just nice talking to them and whatnot. So I think just that alone should be a goal to grow our game.
Yeah.
and that's one thing that's just so cool just about Top Shot in general, is that a lot of times this is people's introduction to the NBA or to the WNBA, and to just sort of see, especially on the W side, just kind of how accessible and sort of how much of fans of other people in the W, those players are, like players like yourself, players like, anyone else on your team. Like there's a lot of support for each other, in that league, and to see that community kind of shared and showcased in that way, I think that's a really cool thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
I feel like we have more questions.
I know I am trying to just like process the surrealness of just
taking in the moment while in the
taking
moment
in the
is
moment.
important.
Speaking of moments, right? So we talked just a second about kind of honoring players before you, and that last year, the 25th year of the W, they released that the top 25 kind of players list. From that list is there anyone there that was like, these are the folks that I modeled my game after? These are the folks who were really, if I would have gotten their moment in a pack when I was younger, these are the people who would have been on my shelf in my showcase, kind of thing. And I also have to share Neil Diamond's hands. Yes, I am definitely starstruck, and I'm trying to keep it all in. Yep.
I think there was plenty, top to bottom. Even the post players, because I like I was bigger when I was younger, and then I stopped growing. But I mean, even the post players, there's so much to admire from the players that made that list. And then if they do that again, moving forward and have a top 50, it's going to be the same thing for me. There are so many special people and players in our league, and it stretches beyond the court. Just how they are as human beings, and that's why I'm really grateful to be a part of the league.
Yeah. Speaking of beyond the court, we want to learn more about your Community Defined Foundation. Can you speak to that a little bit and kind of tell us what that is and how people can support that?
Yeah, it's a foundation I started just within the last year, really focusing on food insecurity. I was able to look up some data from around the city that I grew up in and see how food insecurity has impacted Middle Tennessee, especially since COVID has hit.
Yeah.
Now that I'm out of college, I have means and resources to go back and help any way I can. It'll be basketball camps where the entrance fee will be 2 canned goods. It'll be food drives and things like that. Just being able to take that and then go to a food bank, drop it off, and things like that. Even just going volunteering at food banks that are in Tennessee. That's really what the focus is.
Yeah. Is it mostly focused to Middle Tennessee at the moment, or is it like plans to expand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
there are plans to expand, but for now, and it's little baby stages, it'll just be until I get my full team together, it'll just be in Middle Tennessee.
I think even if it were just in Middle Tennessee, you're doing like boots on the ground in the place that's important to you and where you grew up. It's such a cool thing. And to give back to that community specifically, I think even if it didn't expand, right, that's an incredible thing that you're doing and how you're helping. For those interested, you can follow the Twitter account. It's at ComDefined Foundation FDN. We'll keep an eye on ways we can help moving forward. I taught not too far from Middle Tennessee for a few years. I taught in Nashville. I was in Davidson County teaching versus I think it's Rutherford County is more Middle Tennessee, but definitely hits close to home for me. There's some students of mine who would appreciate that help. So
yeah, and just what folks can learn just from having access to a basketball camp, even if they don't have plans to go beyond like junior high or high school, just to see someone like you, Crystal, who grew up in that same area and has done big and great things. That whole, like, if you can see it, you can do it, and kind of break a lot of those cycles of food insecurity or poverty or things like that. Like, that's really cool. So, shout out to you for doing that kind of work. I think that's really important. Even if it just stays in Middle Tennessee, like that's really cool work. So thank you for doing that.
We're excited to see where that goes and to watch your career as well. Yeah. I guess we don't have a ton of time left with you. We want to make sure that we're respecting your time over there. I know it's late. For those of you tuning in, Crystal's over in Israel right now playing abroad. And we were just kind of curious what that's like, what that experience has been like for you, and kind of how it compares to the W.
It's been eye-opening, definitely just from the culture standpoint. But I've actually gotten used to it. It's been a chance for me to, be out on my own, and really find what I like to do as far as food goes, come into my own, just being on a new team, completely different backgrounds. I'm not used to the same resources as I would be with Minnesota and things like that. So it's, made me grow up. It's made me realize what I'm fortunate to have when I'm there, and, figure out and dig deep in what I need to take care of when I'm over here.
Yeah. Do you notice any differences in like the style of play, or do you feel like that's pretty consistent in both leagues?
For the most part, it's pretty consistent. I will say that they allow a lot more physical play over here. The physicality, cool. I think we get away with a lot more over here. We're on the floor like every other play. But other than that, it seems to be the same.
Yeah. That's cool.
And we have a question from our Twitch team. What's the city that you're playing in, and what's the team?
Okay, I do not know if I'm pronouncing this correctly because I have heard it like 3 different times, but I'm going with what I hear the most consistent. It's Ramleh. I don't know where it's exactly close to. Rishon around their area too, but Ramleh is the team.
Ramleh.
Thank you for saying that. We both looked it up and we're just like, we're going to ask Crystal how to pronounce it because we can't do that ourselves. Yeah.
I promise you, I've heard it like 3 different ways. So
that's great. Now with with what you're playing on a team in Israel, like WNBA rosters are pretty international. But even like looking up what your roster is, looks like, you of course have players from Israel, you have players from the States, but it looks like Sweden, like maybe Australia, like you also have this whole just sort of like international kind of team network itself there. Is there any difference to that kind of like connection with other international players when you have your team in Minnesota or you have your team in Israel? Does that collection of players kind of like mesh in the same way in Israel as it does in the NBA?
I think it does. I think we all, bring different styles of basketball to this team, and we make it work. We really do. I know in the league we have like Didi, she's from Brazil, but it's no different than what you're playing with if you have somebody who was down the street, lived in Minnesota, whatever it is. Yeah. Basketball is basketball, and that's what I really love about the game. The only difference is that there might be a little language barrier where we'll be in practice and they're speaking in Hebrew, and I'm like, yep, I didn't catch one single word.
Just stick to the language of basketball.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My roommate, that's the Swedish player, pal. They majority speak English. It's just me. I don't speak what they speak, and I feel like the outsider, but it's okay. To make it work.
Well, hopefully you'll pick up some more as you're playing with them, and then by the time, if you're back at that same team next year, you're able to speak more than just the language of basketball together. That'll be a fun thing to track to.
Vocabulary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Crystal, we're at our time. Is there anything else you want to share that you want to hype up from your side? What's going on in the world of Crystal Dangerfield?
I would just say, for as far as Top Shot goes, reach out if you have a favorite player, and you want to see them, tag them on Twitter, tag them on Instagram, whatever it is. Get them on the platform, and I promise you'll see the fan engagement that they. And as far as me, I think it's about a little over 40 days we start training camp, so I'll just be on the lookout for it.
Yeah, keep an eye. You can follow Crystal. I think I have the correct stuff on the bottom here. So at CrystalD2_ on Twitter, and then Crystal Dangerfield 5 on Instagram. Make sure you give her a follow. You guys can reach out to her. It sounds like give her some tags, let her know when you're getting her moments. And then make sure you tune in to the Lynx this season when they're on. Kevin, I think we figured out the first game. We think the first televised game is May 8th.
Yep,
the
against
first game
the Mystics.
Is May 6th.
Yep.
Yep.
Check them out
and
on
we'll
ESPN
do some giveaways here. We'll let Crystal go in just a second here. But if you guys put hashtag Crystal in the chat, we'll have some Crystal Dangerfield moments to give away to you guys as well. So hashtag Crystal in the chat. We'll pull that in a little bit. But thank you, Crystal, so much for being here. We really appreciate you taking the time and joining us today.
Thank you so much, Crystal. This was such a thrill for us. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. It was really fun.
Yep.
Awesome.
Great.
Hopefully we'll see you soon. Good luck over there.
Yeah. All right. Bye. Thank you.
Amazing.
Kelsey, we did it. Oh my gosh.
Now we're going to use the rest of the show to debrief how Kevin's feeling.
This is the time we're going to take to just emotionally unload everything that we're going on. I need my own mental health check, probably. Whenever Neil Diamond's hand said that I was going to, here we go. Get Kevin a washcloth. He definitely said I was going to throw up. Yeah.
Yes.
So
I'm not sure how much of the chat Crystal could see. We know she was tuning in from, I think they said she was tuning in from an iPad over in Israel for us. And thank you guys for being patient with some of the Wi-Fi delays we were experiencing. We did the best we could with what we were working with. And I think Crystal was, amazing and handled it so well. And so grateful she did that. That was so cool.
It was honestly, that was more than we could have expected in our third show.
Did we share this one yet?
I'm glad I'm just like that much of a glass door for like everyone.
Here's the
on
thing.
The show.
We're gonna watch this back and you're gonna be like, I did great.
Yeah, exactly,
I did great. I was a pro.
I am not watching this back. Like I'm already
there
are already beads of sweat just like knowing like how we showed up. Yep.
That's very funny.
Yeah, there's gonna be post show like Sunday afternoon beers, I think, gonna happen.
Yeah, right. The adrenaline from that today. Thank you guys for being here too. I know that we thank Crystal and we thank I thank Kevin for doing this all the time. But thank you guys for being here. It really does mean a lot to us that you're here supporting us and supporting the W and supporting players like Crystal. So it's really cool. Shout out to Borland too. I'm pretty sure the idea to reach out was his, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, it was him.
He'd been like, hey, email their PR team. I bet they'll do it. And he was right. So thank you, Borland, for being the catalyst to today's show. That was awesome.
And Borland also put out like 6 tweets for it today.
He did.
We have such a cool, just not just on the show side kind of team, but like a Discord team with this. Like, you all are like super cool humans. This is a lot of fun to do. And
I'm excited to pull Crystal into this world now. I feel like she was here. She was great. Seems excited about Top Shot. I think she's still kind of getting her feet wet with the platform. But she seems open to talking about it and getting involved, and is probably excited for more of her teammates to get involved. So make sure you tag her and stuff. I feel like,
and I think with Mike and Greg in the chat, like, I think we have enough of a quorum to like dub Crystal like the official like team hold correspondent for the W. So I think that decision's already made.
Yeah, so much potential for direct engagement. It definitely, I do think the timing of kind of everything the WNBA is trying to do, I definitely agree with that. That, you know, they want the W players to be household names. They want them to be engaging with the fans. Great.
Yes.
Thanks, Dunbar. Yeah, so make sure you follow Crystal so that she really feels the love from coming on our stream today. I'm not sure. I think someone had asked where, like, how you could help out her Community Defined Foundation. I don't think they have a website yet. I actually don't think there's not a ton of followers for them on Twitter. So if we can help build that follower account, I think that would be really amazing as well. Yeah. We'll keep an eye out for that and kind of see if there's any updates on how we can help. We'll definitely, I'm sure at some point, have a show where we can kind of promote fundraising for them and contributing. It sounds like it's mostly boots on the ground work right now. But as soon as there's a way for us to kind of contribute directly, we'll definitely let you guys know that information, because I'm definitely interested in helping out.
Wow. So
yeah,
Kelsey, there's a lot that's happened in women's basketball in the last week.
I know it's been a week. We started this thinking like every couple weeks we'll do a show. There won't be a lot to talk about because it's the off season, but we can do, you know, AU, and we can keep in touch with international games and NCAA women. But like, we'll just, you know, roll into May, and then we'll pick up more consistently.
Yeah.
And since I think we jinxed it, it might be our fault.
I think absolutely it is our fault. I think our DMs, our Discord is like pushing the whims of the basketball gods to just like create chaos on all fronts. It's wild what's happening in the league. If you follow it all along with the WNBA channel in the Discord, there's everything happening. I think the most recent thing broke yesterday. All WNBA players who were playing in Russia or Ukraine are out of that area, save for one person, and that one person is Brittany Griner. And unfortunately, it's my fault. I have a lot of explaining to do on that one. And it came out yesterday, that 3 weeks ago, she was detained for bringing in vape cartridges containing some oil that starts with an H. I can't even.
I think it's just like hash oil is what it was described as. I am not big into vape culture. I don't know very much about it. So if anyone in the chat has more information, I was under the impression that was like a pretty standard vape situation, that like there was nothing that out of the ordinary about what she had.
Being a wellness professional in prevention in the college ranks, it is pretty. That's what it is. Yep. Thanks, Borland. I think it's pretty normal fare for people who participate to have kind of that stuff on them. And what ended up happening is it was some kind of bag check situation during travel, and she was detained after. And we don't really know a lot else for details, except that, I mean, honestly, we just hope for her safety and everything like that she's able to come back, because it sounds like
it sounds like it is like a cannabis-based product. In legal states, it's very normal. You just can't roll the dice from Russia. It does sound like with the timing, there's some speculation that this was, I mean, intentional. She's also traveled. I mean, this can't be the first time she's brought her vape pen to Russia. Like she's played for the Russian team. So it's a really wild situation. And I think it's like, when we talk about too, trying to have stuff in the States for these WNBA players, I do wonder if this shapes conversations moving forward about options, right? Options for the women of the W to not have to go abroad to play. I wonder if this weighs into people's decisions, like their pros and cons for, am I going to go play overseas? I think this is pretty exceptional circumstances. I don't think we're going to, knock on wood, like, we're not always going to be in a wartime situation where this is something that they would have to consider in their decisions to play. But I do wonder kind of what happens moving forward now because of this.
Yeah. It's I mean, I think we're above literally zero. We know a little bit more than zero, but I think in terms of what is, Kelsey, what you mentioned, what does that future hold for players playing overseas? What does that mean for Brittany's availability for the season? What does that mean for her own personal safety? All these things are huge.
Yeah, if we think
huge
contracts
unknowns.
Yeah. I don't know if this could happen.
There's already something in the collective bargaining agreement that kicks in next year or the year after about there is a set date on the WNBA calendar that players have to be back to report to camp. And if players are playing in Europe or playing elsewhere and they don't get back to the States to report to camp, they are liable for fines and eventually, possibly, my dog's being wild over there, possibly being booted from the team. And each of these things are a lot. And like when you think about how much WNBA players rely on playing overseas,
right? Yeah,
that possibility. Yeah,
they do make a lot more money overseas, which is why they do it. Because I think that like it is a big ask of them to go play overseas a lot of the times. Like, I don't know if you guys realize this, but Crystal was just talking to us at 11 p.m. her time. Like she gave us time at what is past my bedtime. That was very generous of her to come on and chat with us. But it's, and if you're thinking about that, of what time does she have available to talk to her friends and family, like it really does, kind of limit much of their life outside of basketball. And so when they're already considering those things, it's like, what value will this hold moving forward? And I think it will still hold the monetary value. Like it is still worth it for a lot of them because of, the salary discrepancies in the WNBA. But yeah, I wonder if
this is a good comment too. Yeah. On top of everything else,
I know.
You have to be like, I mean, I'm 6'2" and I cannot fly coat. Like it's awful being like scrunched back there, like let alone being like normal basketball size player. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't imagine being that tall and having to, that's the other piece of spicy news that's come out since we last streamed is the charter flight stuff and kind of what we're working with there. I love the New York Liberty for being like, that's what we want to do. We want to pay for it. So you can find us. And that's that. And yeah, let's talk about it. Like we'll get in trouble. So we'll start talking about it. Yeah, I'm curious.
For
Portland.
Damn it, Borland. You know how to get me. I gotta be the tallest person in the room just with the hair. That's why we keep pushing it up. For those that don't know, what Kelsey was bringing up is the last week, another bit of news broke from Sports Illustrated. I think it was Howard Megdal wrote an article basically sort of giving news that happened at the end of last season that the New York Liberty were just kind of throwing the collective bargaining agreement out the window and flying their players in charter jets across the country to games and to like kind of a team party in Napa Valley, which hell yeah, that sounds great. But a lot of things, there's just a lot to pull out of this particular thing. And the good news is that we're going to have someone on Wednesday. We're going to have a show on Wednesday. We're going to bring Aria Schwartz on, who is kind of the creator, the editor, the owner of Wensider. which is a spot that I write occasionally, and he is really locked into things happening at the WNBA, and he's going to talk to us just about what's going on kind of with that story. But essentially, some of the things that came out of that, not just were the Liberty flying players and charter jets that was blatantly against the rules outlined in the CBA. The Liberty said, well, if you're going to be mad about us flying people charter, then we'll find a way to get more everyone in the league to fly charter. We found a way to do this for 3 years. We got it funded. They presented it to the other owners. The other owners voted it down, saying for one of the reasons
that I think I saw a statement that may not have been
right.
There's like some now questions about whether or not that was actually presented. That's questions I have of like which one of those things is true, and then like my thought is there's probably some truth in the middle.
Yeah. So one of the things reportedly happened is that Board of Governors voted that down, saying that players are going to get too used to flying charter jets, and if they can't find ways to fund it beyond the 3 years, if they go back, they're going to be upset. One of the other reasons was that players would just rather take a salary hike than fly charter. Again, the WNBA disputes this, but both kind of the WNBA Players Association and Megdal in that article said that these are things that happened, and it is just a mess. And I think not just sort of displays the weird things WNBA players have to go through to get from game to game, or the basic kind of things that they have to fight for that NBA players completely take for granted. Hell, even college athletes take for granted. My Nebraska Cornhuskers, the women's basketball team, flies charter for every game that they go to away, and that they're gonna players are gonna have to give that up when they go professional just sounds
well. And then
baffling.
To be like they're gonna get used to it. It's like they were already used to it, and then you took it away. And
exactly.
Why not give it to them for 3 years and be like, hey, we're gonna work really hard to make this normal. Let's see how it impacts the game. Let's see how it impacts if you're to be able to travel comfortably. I can't imagine getting off a plane where I'm squished like a sardine and then having to play a game of basketball in my current physical state. Never mind being like actually good at basketball, and where like I think you're noticing those nuances and the way it feels in your body more often. Like I feel like I'm always going to be sore getting off a plane, but if a WNBA player gets off and is like, okay, I'm sore, they're going to know, like that's going to affect their job performance. And then that's going to affect the caliber of the game. And it's like, this is important for a lot of reasons.
And Neil with the other comment, why not have both charter flights and increase in salaries? Because you can do both. There are billionaires that own these teams. These are things that can happen. And one thing that was troubling to me that came out of this that I saw in the article and shared in the Discord was that some of the reporting on this was sort of how owners feel about their teams. And there are several owners who have sort of been around since the start of the league, who've sort of been kind of those early buy-ins, had teams for long times. And the way that they view their teams as kind of quote unquote kind of nonprofit charity cases, they have their valuation of teams set at 0, and that they use this as sort of a development for the greater good of women's basketball. I would argue that maybe you should buy a team, buy a professional sports team, because you want that team to make money and you believe in the product.
That was shocking. I wonder if there's a tax incentive.
Yeah.
If there's if you can claim losses on a WNBA team, if it I don't know enough about all of that, but that's what my brain did when it's like, okay, so then what is the benefit if it's not done out of trying to promote the league or promote the game, or because you're a fan of the sport? What are your other reasons for doing this? And it was wild to read that of there are owners who are like, no, this is a zero-sum game. We don't want this to be anything else. It seems like, Kev, you have to step off for a second. What we'll do now is I'll run these. Thanks, Neil. I'll run these giveaways. So hashtag Crystal in the chat. I got a couple to give away. We'll do that here. So if you haven't already, make sure hashtag Crystal in the chat. And then, guys, what a day, huh? who else should we get on the show? Who do we think would come on? He's finally throwing. He might be. I don't think that's true. I think it's pup related, which waiting for a cameo, but he's back. Here we go. Hashtag Crystal in the chat. I'm going to do the first giveaway. So let me pull up this.
Great.
It says we have 19 entries. So your odds, there's 20. We're going up. Odds are pretty good.
Yep.
Hashtag Crystal in the chat there. Make sure you like and subscribe.
Y'all are ridiculous. You all are ridiculous. I have an old dog, and somehow she just caught the urge to go outside. So we pay attention to the old dog in our house. Yeah.
Oh, funny. All right, here we go. Hashtag Crystal for our girl Crystal Dangerfield. If your name is pulled, please either DM us at the Watch Her Work DFS Twitter account. You can DM either Kevin or myself on Discord, or you can just DM our personal accounts on Twitter, and we will get that over to you ASAP. Those are in my account. Got a couple today, so we'll probably do 3 of these between now and when we're finally off of this thing. So let's do the first one. First winner is
Stachonska.
I for sure was going to be Borland, and I was like, what a perfect thing. There's a couple more, so maybe you'll get one on the next one. Great. You seem easy to track down. That's a name that's familiar to me. So yes, if you're able to call me at home, feel free.
Yeah, we'll FaceTime.
Please don't put my number on the internet. I don't want to deal with that. You can call Mike though. It's same home, same. Yeah, we'll get it to you.
Yeah.
Amazing. Congrats on that first one. We'll do some more, so you can keep putting. We'll do the same hashtag. So go ahead and you can keep putting Crystal in the chat.
So Kelsey,
yeah.
One thing I wanted to chat with you about, and I'm springing this on you. We didn't talk about it pre-show.
It's fine. I'm ready.
We spent so much bandwidth and so much energy in all the other shows this last week. Not me personally. I just showed up in the comments. Just about like what our state of the Top Shot land is. Like,
Ooh.
Are we excited to be collectors? Do we feel #rugged? Do we feel like we're just ready to totally cash out? Like what are you feeling when it comes to Top Shot?
So I really feel like I'm one of the few in the Team Hold brand who is truly Team Hold sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
The name, I think we need to lean into the name. Like, I didn't sign up for this to flip a quick moment and like get a quick buck. It felt like that at first. I was like, okay, if these skyrocket to a number where I'm like, it would be irresponsible not to cash in on this moment, then like, yeah, sure. But getting into this, it always was clear to me that like this feels like a long-term thing. This feels like the future of collecting in basketball. This, like, when I learned that the WNBA moments were going to roll out, I was like, okay, amazing. Like, we're going to get WNBA players in here. People are going to learn more about the game. It's going to connect fans to the athletes. Like, that all made sense to me, and it still makes sense to me. And I don't see another sort of thing like that overtaking this. I mean, maybe it will, right? Like, we have no idea what the future is going to hold. Maybe other companies sort of match this idea, but the player investment, the fan investment, the product itself, like, I think they're cool. I'm not in a ton of other NFTs. I think that's also something that's affecting people's perspective on this, where like they're signing up for these drops. They're seeing the hype build up before they're released. Everything goes down. Then they're like offloading. And it's just like constantly churning new stuff, basically. And I think when you're looking at NFTs as a whole, it feels like there should be more happening. But for me, I'm looking at it as a product, and a product I think is cool. And so I'm not worried about it.
Look at you, like, having such like a healthy, like, emotionally intelligent response to what this product is. Like, I feel like this is so non-controversial. Like, this will be like in the vanilla take pile. Like, when it comes to
our takes are boring.
Right. But I think what you say is pretty on the nose for how I feel as well. I think there are things to definitely be annoyed about. I think sort of if you are someone who put so much of your energy into collecting team sets for, with that end goal for collector score boost and what that unlocked for you. I understand feeling sort of that change in direction. That change in direction, just really feeling, really feeling upsetting in the moment. I understand not liking watching your account valuation go down. I am, as I do with everything that I own. If you give me the opportunity to check my account balance on something, I will do it to the point that it becomes mentally unhealthy. Just refresh. And I see that too. Like mine has tanked a lot in the last couple of weeks, but I think on the whole, like I'm still showing up to the website pretty regularly. There's still things about it that I'm excited to engage with and just really enjoy. And quite honestly, there are still some moments that are just out there that, like, as a basketball fan, like I just watch and then I have the goosebumps happen. This isn't a valuable moment, but the Lonnie Walker Top Shot debut, we're drifting a little bit outside of WNBA, but I'm still a Spurs fan, so that's where I'll go.
Yeah.
The Lonnie Walker Top Shot debut is one that gives me just literal goosebumps, because it was just what that moment was, what it meant for that person individually. It means a lot. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to watch it just kind of over and over again. And I think when we talk about sort of what does fandom mean, what does collection mean, I think that's what I would want to lean into. And the same goes for a lot of those WNBA moments too. Yeah.
We're also seeing Dapper do stuff at basketball games and like at the All-Star weekend and at Summer League. And so if you're in this if you just like the moments and you think collecting moments is cool as a product that you would like to own, then like that's still there. And if you are in it for the community, like we are seeing very tangible things about building community happening. And that's the part that feel important to me. I mean, of course it sucks to go in and be like, oh, my account was worth a lot more, a year ago. But I think that's what's going to happen. Like it's going to go up and down. It's a marketplace. It is a market. So you have to like, look at this. And I also, to be fair, don't understand the nuances of like market dynamics and supply and demand and all these other Twitter threads I see all the time where I'm like, I understand 3 of the 12 tweets that you just rolled out. I'm like, I'm going to tap out on this now. I think if you get too in your head about it, like, of course you're going to be disappointed. I don't blame people for being disappointed. I think that if Dapper starts to change a lot of the stuff that they told people was going to be true, that's where I get a little nervous. If all of a sudden collector score is just a whole different ballgame and people have invested time and money and resources into utilizing that in the way that they were told they would be able to utilize that, that feels like I don't love that. I'm also not someone who like, I have definitely purchased moments to get my collector score to a certain place for certain drops. But I'm not someone who has spent a ton of money on collector score, right? So like even that, I'm like, yeah, you know what? Okay. But that type of stuff is where I can understand kind of the backlash and the frustration more, in terms of just like being frustrated as a whole at Top Shot. I'm like, just give it time.
That's a good comment.
So collector score, you by all means, please feel free to send those moments.
I think when you talk about what gets you the most just like worried and frustrated on the platform,
we're gonna have it's gonna be a long night.
Just tell Mike to take a walk. Go by the barbershop.
Top Shot Tony is not invited to our home.
There's gonna be a Top Shot Tony's spaces happening like in the parking lot. Like
Top Shot Tony's probably already on Spaces. Yelling.
Gonna be just yelling, I object, just like from the church parking lot of whatever wedding's happening. Oh my gosh. But like it just feels like what you talk about was sort of like those threads and people just like pummeling us with like market analysis and things like that. Like oh, cool. So we've gone from like fudding Top Shot to like fudding the actual like wedding. Like let's burn it all.
Someone who wants to make a Twitter thread about our wedding, that would be incredible. A web thread.
Yeah, I think we're opening the door for like a big like Damon Fat, just like
I do feel like I need to
smash
pull
of
up. I'm gonna try to find it. There is a NBA related photo I keep going back to for wedding related things that is very very funny to me. But keep going. I'm
oh
putting you
god,
up here.
I hope it's like banana boat level. No, I think it's like the things that were like bother me most probably about the Top Shot experience, or like some of those threads, and just like fan engagement, or just like people expecting, you know, so much
Yeah.
out of a platform. And I think as much as folks just like dig into spreadsheets or Twitter threads, like I don't know that they may be the econ level experts that they may think they are, and really just us jumping from thread to thread to thread and just getting angrier and angrier, and sort of having this sort of just like fudding echo chamber of grossness is definitely not the healthiest thing, and definitely not something that's really fun to engage with
I
in
will
terms
say
of
some of
a
those threads,
community.
super informative,
Oh,
super
absolutely.
helpful. I
Yeah.
sort of wish there were a separate feature so that like wouldn't it feels like I'm seeing them so often now. And the problem is then I click on one, so then I see more of them. Twitter's like, "Oh, you love this." So we're just gonna like part of that's my fault. I should just
Yeah.
scroll through. But they do, I mean, they do grab my attention. I'm like, okay, what are we talking about now? What are we doing here today?
Right.
Um, and
And it catches my
there's
eye,
just a
and
lot of
it's
them.
like, yeah, and you know, some of them really are good. Like there are, you know, some of those things that like John Boy Beats puts out, that, you know, maybe with like all the expected value that are in packs, or like what percentage of value of packs are you going to get. Like it's not necessarily like my live and die about whether I'm going to buy a pack, but that sort of information is certainly helpful. I mean, I use that to sort of set out the all day packs on Friday, and it was probably a pretty good decision, and it won't be what makes my decision every time going forward, but
Yeah.
this stuff is good. But sort of the man, some of the grossness that's out there is really strong. I think back to like that
Yeah.
Wolfpack spaces or Wolf Den spaces last week, that like one person tells someone to shut up, and then like bam, like a Jersey Shore episode just like breaks out with like folks just like all in like the deepest just like bro language, or like
Yeah.
yelling at each other, and that like engagement I don't think really screams, wow, I love this platform and want to keep investing in that.
True.
Yeah.
I do
Hmm.
think but that is still people engaging with the
Yeah.
product. Like, I think it's hard to see a lot of negativity, right? But, like, it's still in the forefront of people's minds. People are still
Hmm.
interacting and engaging. Like,
Yep.
that tide will turn too.
Yep.
It's just part of it. And, like,
Hmm.
I also think with all these new kind of platforms coming out, like, I thought that I would get super into NFL all day. I lined up for one pack drop and I haven't even considered. I'm like, I don't, it's not what I'm interested in. I
Hmm.
like NBA Top Shot better than the NFL ones. And maybe they do something that all of a sudden I'm engaged in that platform. I think if there's a fantasy sports aspect that rolls out on any of these sites, that like that will get me in and buying more moments. And I do see the potential for that in a lot of these spaces. UFC, like I signed up for a long time ago when it was like, we're going to have USC and you put your name on the email list. And I don't think I have not like looked at a single thing on that site.
Hmm.
And so I think you're going to see that too, where I think everyone's trying to have their hand into all of the buckets. And it's like, you only got two hands. So you might need to pick and choose. And like some of them might disappoint you and some of them may be, you know, where you're excited to be. But by trying to kind of keep track of all of it and comparing it all to each other, I think is just you're setting yourself up for frustration and
Yeah,
disappointment.
absolutely. And this is where like I to kind of go along with what you're saying, like Poker Pro, like the idea that we're gonna fully expect Top Shot to screw this up by the time summer rolls around. Like I understand because things aren't great, but I think maybe I'm on the wrong base here. But I think the WNBA is one of Top Shot's like biggest victories. Like what they rolled out in terms of sort of the best of the mints, or the edition sizes that they had,
Mhm.
50 players, around like 17K each moment, and then the collector score initiatives along that, and basically every player on there having badges on badges on badges, and like
Yeah.
pretty
Well,
cool
and Neil
moments
had said
out of
this
that.
one earlier too.
Yeah.
Like the floor is held to $7 or $8 through the whole thing. I think too, what people are forgetting and what I kind of think about the W moments is like, this is like their series one. And I think everyone sort of agrees that those just hold more value. I am curious what happens as more W moments roll out. I mean, I kind of hope we're in a place where we have a ton of WNBA moments and that like there's a huge supply of those moments. I think it's going to feel different no matter what. I don't know if like the trade volume is comparable with the WNBA moments and the NBA moments. I actually should probably kind of look at how those things stack up. But yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what happens to WNBA Top Shot moments next season. But I think also keeping in mind that like those were the first WNBA moments. And so if you're in it now, those may have the value you're hoping that they would have. They're not seen as being as novel without new stuff to kind of make them the first.
Right.
So.
And if Top Shot does anything gamification wise, once the season starts, like a weekly flash challenge or something like that, then you see that first set value just hold so strongly. Especially with those best of moments. I think when we kind of get into some of the fandom ones, I think just who the players are in some of those. I mean, I definitely like Diamond DeShields. Some of those folks are in there, but some others in the fandom set are either not with their same team or looking for new teams. And I think that best of set is going to have a lot of value if there's any sort of flash challenge out of this, because that's where the bulk of the players that are playing now are going to be.
This was an interesting question here. If we like Top Shot, why not use NFL and UFC to flip and level up? Is that something that you're doing, Kevin, or is that
personally I have deeply personally, my spouse is a bigger NFL fan than I am. She grew up in Denver area and huge Broncos fan, and I am kind of meh on it. But I lined up for an all-day pack and got one a couple weeks ago and just kind of saw the value tank on it. So I just am kind of like holding on to it. So the hope is that someday like I can flip a Jarvis Landry when he like blows up, if there's like some kind of like fantasy challenge or something that happens next season. But I have no intent to really like go into it as much as I have for NBA Top Shot. Even UFC, like I couldn't name you one person on a UFC card, in the last 2 years. Like I don't know any of that. So some things about La Liga kind of excite me, because that's like watching like Barca and like Real Madrid games are kind of fun, but outside of that, Top Shot is really going to be where I put a lot of my time and energy. What about you?
Yeah, I think I'd rather it just feels like a lot of work to me to I mean, I guess I could line up for pack drops. I feel like the pack prices lately, it's not a range I'm super comfortable with. And like I know I could probably flip. I don't see it as much value in UFC and NFL, just I mean truly because I'm not as interested and haven't looked at their marketplaces. I think NFL All Day like just rolled out their marketplace. So in terms of like flipping for Dapper, that's something that's become a reality very, very recently. I think I'd rather sell NBA moments. I think if that's what I was going to do, like truly too, I'm looking at NBA Top Shot. I'm prioritizing WNBA moments. I think there's something really cool to that in the spirit of like these being kind of the first things. I also think this is going to be a really huge moment in the WNBA's history of like building the fan base. I just think we're a part of this like upward trend for women's sports and for the W specifically. Like that to me is what's really appealing about W Top Shot moments too. So I think just like, I don't know, I think I'd rather focus my attention into just Top Shot. I do see the value in kind of getting Dapper from other places, but I think just that it requires a level of focus and being locked into those marketplaces that I'm just not really willing to put in right now. Like, I think not only the knowledge of who are these people that I'm not as familiar with. I mean, I guess NFL, I could probably hang in the NFL space that I feel better about. And maybe once it settles and it's kind of more clear to see what you're looking for and what you'd want, maybe then. But I I think a lot of people in those marketplaces also have figured out what they want to do differently because they've been in Top Shot. So now they're like, okay, I know to price this here instead. And I don't know if that's all playing out exactly. But cool. Thank you.
Thank
We're
you.
probably going to jump off here soon anyway. But yeah, I think I think short answer, I don't want to put in the energy to those marketplaces.
Right. And I
no.
absolutely agree. I mean, I imagine a lot of the stress for folks comes from investing so much financially into these things and other NFT projects. And quite honestly, I've looked at a lot of other stuff. Like I've looked at Ballers, I've looked at some of these other NFT projects, and there are things about it about some of them that speak to me, like what Raptor News shares about like waves and everything. Like I see that, and I think that is incredible to even just hold on to on my, and have it just like on my own little phone screen to look at every now and then, but also the utility of like having a display of something like that in my house would be incredible. But a lot of stuff with other kind of like NFT projects and things, like there's a lot around there that seems like fishy and kind of gross. Whereas Top Shot is definitely doing something, collecting something that I enjoy, that I love, and that I like see a future in. And what you mentioned too, just like seeing the growth in women's sports and the WNBA as a whole, like that feels like a good place to put the money that I earn. And I think a lot of, if you want to put your money where you feel like there's a good value in that, even beyond whatever financial means there are, that's a pretty good bet. Whereas, gosh, I was listening to the Spaces last week sometime, and someone said, I've lost 10 grand over the last 2 weeks, but I still plan on putting $500 more into the platform, like over the course of the night, just to recoup losses. This is not financial advice, but that doesn't seem like great financial advice. Like that doesn't seem like a great plan, just for your own finances, but also your own health as a human being. Like, don't put yourself in that kind of position. Like, yeah.
I also just believe in putting my money where my mouth is. And we're here spewing about WNBA. I need to. Right. That's where I'm at.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like we just had a WNBA player on the show. Amazing.
Oh my God, that really did happen.
It really happened. I know you probably blacked out that portion of your day, but that's a real thing. I think that's the first like famous person I've ever talked to.
Yeah, same. There's a story of like I went bowling once with Terrell Owens, but we don't have to like get into that. But I think this is like someone who is like a level of like athlete, or like someone that I'm just like I was just so excited to talk to you. Like from the moment we got this initial like email about it, like how hyped were you? Like I spent all day just like a hummingbird just all across my house.
I feel like I'm proud of myself for the way I handled it. Like yesterday was like, do you want to like go over anything, or do you have questions, or like what can we set up? What can like stuff can we pull up for you to have ready? And I was like, I don't think I can think about this until like 1 p.m. tomorrow. Like I'll give myself a good chunk of time to prep and like look at stuff and just make sure I'm ready to go. But I was like, if I start thinking about it now, I won't sleep. There's no way. I'll be too excited. I'll be like going through conversations in my head of like, I would have played the whole thing through 100 times. If only. If anyone has a connection. You know what? We should probably just fire off emails to PR teams.
Let's go.
At this point. Team Hold, if you want to start following, I know the Links has a separate PR Twitter that retweeted Team Hold. If we follow some of those PR accounts.
I know who would really faint if we got the Sloot on stream, and that would be a deep threat. Absolutely.
We'll have to get him in before we interview.
Yeah. Well, we're 1 for 1, and you did handle yourself very well. You were the pro on stream, so way to go.
Do you know what else I did? Is I had to remind myself that I'm straight up older than she is. And that was truly something that was like, she is in a very different place in her life than me, and she has accomplished so much, but there is something to being like, oh yeah, no, it's okay. Like that I have lived a few more years of life than her, and I can just And by a few, I mean, like, I think at least 7. Like, I think
exactly.
she's young. And so and this is like former teacher Kelsey being like, she's not much older than my oldest students. That's, and like, I don't know. It helped me get in the right state of mind of like, oh no, I can just ask her questions and just treat her like a person.
Yeah.
Like, this will help.
I obsessively watched, like, even before this, like, I've watched a lot of like her highlight reels and stuff, but like went in to watch like her interviews that she's done kind of across YouTube. And I don't think we could have had like a better person to like start off this interview process with. Like, she is the most just like disarmingly kind of just like kind and just like kind of just plain spoken and just like, it just seems like the easiest person to kind of talk to about stuff because it's just
she reads kind and warm on camera, and it was watching interviews that she had done just to sort of get a sense of who, how she was in this space. I too was like, oh my god, she's so nice. She's gonna be the best.
Nice. Unreal how nice she is. Like, that is like some true Midwest knives. Let's see. Okay, we're taking this as permission that we just keep reaching out and going for it.
We're gonna see how many W guests we can get before Team Holt gets an NBA guest. I feel like this is which feels like a very unfair challenge for them, given the differences in the league. But
no, don't even it out. I think for every W guest we get before they get an NBA guest, I think they owe us like at least a moment each, and just make that keep happening. Yeah,
I'll work through the stakes at home tonight. We'll see what we can wheel it and deal it. I do think at some point though they're going to be like, nope, they're going to be on the actual show. Like, we're gonna Team Hold is going to be a ton of tiny screens of everyone. Just be like, okay, we all want to talk to you.
Just the best Zoom call ever. That's great. All those tiles.
Yeah,
all right.
So cool.
I have a pack to open.
And I have another giveaway. So we did one of them. So let me pull this up and do another one. Hashtag Crystal in the chat. If you want to pull up your kind of account.
That's great. We'll complete a team set before they get one guest.
I do feel like I'm supposed to go buy like an expensive Crystal Dangerfield moment for my collection and like start a showcase of guests. And even if it's only her moment in there for the rest of time, I still feel like that's pretty cool. So let's
I know by looking it up that her jersey match is still there. Hey, Eric Flock.
Make sure you reach out to us with your Top Shot username, so that we can get that moment over to you. I have one more I can give away at the very end of the show, but here we go.
All right, I will share mine. Whoops, wrong one. Let's try that again. This would be
so funny. We honestly should just probably live stream from outside of Madison Square Garden. There will be a day where Mike and I just go explore the streets of New York, and I'm going to be filming him trying to interview people.
I swear, like the partnership with like Billy Eicher on that would just be incredible.
Mike has been stopped by Billy on the street.
Stop it. Seriously?
I actually, to say stopped is wrong. Mike can correct me on this too, but I'm fairly certain Billy Eichner saw Mike, looked at him, said no, and then kept walking. Hopefully, I don't know what Mike's doing. Maybe he can confirm in the chat, but he does have a Billy on the street story.
I think that is the perfect way to interact with that show. Like,
yeah,
it's still funny. You're not saying anything.
Low stakes.
Yep.
Yeah, but I'm fairly certain that has actually happened to Mike. So full circle moment.
All right.
All right, what do we get?
Let's see. I haven't gotten middle out in a while, so let's try middle out. Let's see. Do we have hey.
Here we go.
Current net Ben Simmons in their old City Edition unis, which are not as good as this year's City Edition uniforms. Like, I'll just say it right now. All right. That was certainly a thing. Let's see. Oh, we got some Celtics on board. Taco with handles and some kind of footwork. There we go.
That just gives me
on a roster?
I don't know. I know he's not a Celtic.
Oh man, these are some healthy cereals on here.
I don't know where he is.
Let's see. Oh, we got Gary Harris. Every one of the players we pull on here is no longer with that team, but great uniforms though. Like sunset over the Rockies, Denver Nuggets uniforms.
Yes,
all right.
Taco team legs. We love a Taco Fall moment. That's who he plays for now, is Team Legs.
Okay, there we go. Awesome.
So fun. All right, hashtag Crystal in the chat. We have one more moment to give away. Kind of finish off the show with our final Dangerfield moment here.
That's a generous 2 out of 10 on that pack. Yeah. Give it like 1.25.
He's in the G League. Yeah.
There we go.
I was hoping man.
I think Team Legs should be a G League team. If we can have like Team Ignites, like we should be able to have a Team Legs team. Like
that would
make
fun.
It a thing.
I do like that. It makes me my brain immediately went to let's when the W expands, can we expand to have a team? Feels different for WNBA than NBA though.
Right.
So but yeah. Hashtag Crystal in the chat. We'll do this giveaway and get out of here so we can like decompress from our
I am just immediately going to fall underneath this desk and just decompress like a balloon. This is going to be great.
I would love to see, this is funny, to see Taco and Crystal next to each other. Oh, wrong. Tony's cousin. Okay. Because how tall is Taco Fall? So
Taco. Oh my gosh, what looks up? Crystal is 5'5". Taco has
he is
to be like
7'5".
7'5". Wow.
That's what Yahoo's telling me. I don't know why Google's not my Taco Fall. Yeah, I'm seeing 7'5", 7'6". He's a full 2 feet taller than her.
Wow.
Oh,
I think I would still take Crystal in like a matchup.
Oh my god, you guys got to go watch her highlight videos on YouTube. The way she drives in the paint, like as a 5'5" player, is incredible. You can visibly see she's like the smallest person on the court, and she's playing like she's taller than everyone else. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, you had like pretty cool. I meant to look up like what her shot chart was like before she like came on stream, and like I would have to think like it is really concentrated, just like right around the basket. And
my brain was like, do I do this while she's here? But I was like, forget danger in the field. She's a danger in the paint. And now I'm like, I need it on a t-shirt.
These are the things we could have like bounced off of her like while she was here. Like that's perfect.
Yeah. She's great. The hope is we'll have her on again another time.
Right.
And we can share with her all of our all of the things that we mulled over before she came on.
She's an official correspondent now, so she has to come back.
Yeah. All right. Hashtag Crystal. Let's do this last pull here. Share the screen. Giveaway tool. Draw again. Here we go.
Double D. Or Dublady. There's an accent there.
Oh, yes. Love it.
I think between both of us, I hope that we got it at least right there. Getting names right is important.
Yes, we love it. Guys, reach out if you won.
Yeah.
We did
Thanks for being here. We did it. Kelsey, we did
it.
Third
Thank
show.
you guys for tuning in and for supporting both us and the W and Crystal. We really appreciate having you guys here. Thank you again so much to Crystal.
Yeah.
For coming on the show. It's truly one of the coolest moments maybe of my life. So
it's definitely
appreciate her being here.
Based on my reaction, it's definitely the coolest moment of my life. Story from me. 2 weeks after we were married, my wife and I are walking through Target. We go to like the clearance aisle and she sees this KitchenAid mixer and she screams in the middle of the store, "Oh my God, this is the best day of my life." 2 weeks after we were married. She gets to come home later today and I get to tell her, "Oh my God, this was the best day of my life." So face. Jesse, there you go.
Second
Wednesday.
best day of everyone's life. I haven't had, so this is pre-wedding for me. So this feels like it's fair game to say this is the best day of my life.
You have something to compare it to, though.
Although I guess I should probably say engagement day for now, but you know what? It's fine. It's fine. I think Mike's okay with it.
We won't focus on that. Yeah. Wednesday, we're coming back.
Yes.
9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central. We are going to have Arya Schwartz from Winsider come educate us about just the wild things that are happening in the W over the last 2 weeks and give his perspective. Show up for it, ask good questions. And
let us know questions ahead of time in the WNBA channel of the Discord if you have them. We'd be happy to talk to them. Talk about those on the show on Wednesday. 2 guests back to back, same week. Look at us go. It's only up from here.
To the
guys,
moon.
thank you again.
Bye all.
Yeah.